the Matt Stafford trade has gone official, right? Do we have a graphic element on this?
We do.
Okay, and I do, because I want to take a look at this. We haven't had a chance to do this. Now with the draft having come and gone, let's get it out there. What the official return for Matt Stafford in the Matt Stafford trade goes down in the books as the Lions got Jared Goff, Pro Bowl quarterback last year, Melifonwu, Jameson Williams, Josh Paschal, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, and Broderick Martin, all in return for Matthew Stafford. And there's a couple of different avenues. And D-Mac, first off, let me address the one that I saw the most chatter about, just on the different social media channels. For me, the return is a good return. Number one, because I would contend the quarterbacks have just about they're in the same ballpark as each other, right? As far as performance that they've had with their new teams, just about the same. The Super Bowl thing is different, and it doesn't count. I'm not concerned with the Rams winning a Super Bowl. That doesn't play into it for me. It doesn't, because that's not apples to apples. Where the Rams were with their roster, how they were set to go. So for me, I like the return that they got. You paid less money to a quarterback, got about the same performance, and as you go into the future here, are you counting on Matt Stafford to ever return to the level that he was before? I'm not. Where are you at with the Matt Stafford return?
I see that, and I look at it totally different. Because I look at it like it can end up being a win-win. Right now, it's looking to be a win-win for both franchises.
I don't care what the Rams got. I don't care.
No, that's your good. Go ahead how you judge it. I don't see it that way. Yeah, I look at this and I look differently and look at that. Okay, if you're saying, am I looking at what the return I got for one guy? Like I'm saying the Rams, they did business. They got everything they wanted to the point they were at a different point that he was a finishing piece to get them over the end. They didn't care what it was, right? If I'm looking at it, is it a win? To me, it's a win-win for both. Do I like the return that I got for the one guy that spent his career here that was a first-rounder? Yeah, because I've seen other first-rounders, career Hall of Fame guys retire with no compensation to it. So right now, it's the greatest deal. Again, Brad Holmes showing a different level in a trade how he cooks. Now, the list again, if you look at it, the guys that were just drafted, the Gibbs, the Laporta, the Martins. So, now, time will tell, but what the expectations are is right now looking at it is it's a win-win. Why? To me, that's what I look for in transactions is how do they benefit each other. So if I'm keeping score, I like my return. I think it gets me to where I want to be. You said it yourself. Teams are at different points. We just got done talking the first segment about where Philadelphia was compared to us. No, along the way of the rebuild, we need all these pieces to make what we need. And congratulations. I'm glad it worked for the Rams. It just, for future worth. You're right. It doesn't matter if they won, they lost, they didn't do it. The return there, but it shows you for the one player. And to me, I look at it because he was our first rounder, because we had all our eggs in his basket for so many years, because, for whatever else, because we've lost guys in the past under regimes to just retire for nothing. So to me, that's why I look at fireworks, win.
Explosives.
Explosions. Big E says,
"Yeah, not
see." And here's
that's what we do here in Detroit. We don't shut off the little beep 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 in Arizona. Here we drop bombs. This is Neal.
See, here's my problem with this line of thinking. I'm not saying you, D-Mac. I'm saying this line right here from Big E. One's won a Super Bowl, one hasn't made the playoffs. Well, you know what? The first year that one was with his team, the biggest free agent acquisitions he had was Trey Flowers and Jamie Collins for $19 million. With one caveat, they weren't on the team anymore. That's not justified. That's not a justifiable outcome to come to when you look at it and you analyze it. When you put that graphic up there on the screen, there is no doubt, especially given the forward trajectory of Matt Stafford, where he's going to be, there is no doubt that the Lions won that trade. I don't care that the Rams won a Super Bowl. That doesn't impact me. It doesn't benefit me. It doesn't hinder me. That's the return right there. I'll roll with that. because we saw Jared Goff have a Pro Bowl year last year. And as Robert Colosio says, Stafford was hurt all year last year, like he was the 4 years prior with us. That's what it is. It's not the Rams trade. It's Matt Stafford and the return the Lions got. And it was something that had to have been done. You can't look at it in a vacuum like that and say, well, Jared Goff didn't make the playoffs. No one's making the playoffs when Jamie Collins and Trey Flowers are taking up $20 million of your cap. Nobody is. That's what had to be done. And they did as well as you could do given the circumstances. And they got Jared Goff back. Who, look, you can say what you want. And Rex and Spenny, that's why I give you credit. You don't let emotion grip you. It is a factual statement. Jared Goff was a Pro Bowl level quarterback last year. You've said it.
Yes.
You want to see it again? I got no problem with that. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
100%. But that's what it was.
Show us.
He showed us. Like, that's what I can't live in that. What happened for the Rams? What did the Rams do? I don't care. That graphic tells me that that's a good return. I don't care what happened to the Rams.
Filling the needs. And if you look at the graphic, I mean, really, I don't think it's indetermined yet, isn't it? Because we got to see these guys play. Mm-hmm. Now the stats look good, the names look good, stuff like this, but we got expectations. I want to see Josh Pascal healthy, and then you got to see all these young guys. But with what Jared Goff did and what he provided to your team, right? And it was rocky at different points, but the way that it battled through, and the fact that Holmes that's his guy. So that's where we're at. Are you happy with it? I think it's that. The story's not over, right? This is just another chapter. Ends another chapter that the names have been filled in. We got to wait and see, but I'm happy with the return and everything works out. What happens if, from now on, everything, nobody plays out? None of these guys.
How's it trending for the Rams? And look, somebody talks about that too.
But they still have to see. That's where I disagree with you, because in this, they got what they needed. But it's why can't it be a win-win? Why does it got to be, I won this and you won that, and it's a power struggle, instead of they got what they needed, we got what we needed, and hopefully it's what we need to move forward.
I'm going to take a page out of D-Mac's book right here, because I'm a Lions fan, and all I give a shit about is what we got. All right. And I like what we
Lions
got.
There it is. That's all that matters. But the book's not done. This is the chapter's over. I don't think the book's closed just because you got the names there. Still got to play out.
And Spenny, I know, because I brought this up to you, and I think you and I vibe on this point a little bit, and it gets glossed over because I never hear anybody ever talk about it except for me and you. That Rams-Niners conference championship game. Mm-hmm. About 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I forget the defensive back for the 49ers.
Yeah.
Pass hits him in the chest. He drops it.
Yeah, right in the chest.
He catches it.
And game over. Rams don't
game
get
over.
to the Super Bowl.
Like, that's how fine the line is. And that, you know what? That was fortunate.
Yeah.
That was a fortunate. But you have to be fortunate to win a Super Bowl.
That happens to everybody.
Yeah. As I've always said, like, everyone thinks like it's this line of domination, and you just go out there and win the championship, and you're never challenged or anything like that. Like, even D-Mac was a part of the greatest hockey teams of all time. They have moments of trials and tribulation in every single playoff run. Mm-hmm. Even when they had 1,300 Hall of Famers on the team and one mid-player, as Sam Flannel would say. Even when they had that as a roster, it didn't. There were always moments of trepidation. The UNLV, that team that beat Duke by 30, almost lost to Ball State.
Yeah.
They were lucky to win.
That's what happens.
That is exactly
Everybody
what happens.
has to get lucky at some point in a playoff run. Or there's always one of those moments where it's like, oh, this could end. Oh, no. Like, look at the Chiefs last year, like that holding call. That changed the game. The Eagles would have had the ball driving with, 2 minutes left if it wasn't for that holding call. A chance to win the game. Instead, they had the ball driving with 40 seconds left.
Chris in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Jared Goff was 26 when he was traded to the Lions, only a year older than Mr. Hooker right now. With what's been put around him, it's been an impressive progression from 3 to 9 wins. And that's true. Even the biggest hater has to say that. They absolutely do. But for me, yes, the Lions won the trade because they got what they needed. And they're on the way. And those pieces. There will be, now look, in that graphic, there'll be 2 guys that flop.
Iffy. More than likely, Iffy.
Yeah.
And
The math says there'll be 2 guys that flop, and there'll be 2 guys that'll be good. what happens with the middle guys. That's like life, right?
Well, you want one. You got to have greatness. And here's the one thing: when you look at the specific player, you were done with this player. You sort of tapped out to whatever it was. That's why I say it was a win-win to be able to get rid of them and replenish it and be happy when the names are where the draft picks were going to be. Instead of now, it's not just the second-round pick and this other first-round pick and number pick 18. These are the faces, the names, and the guys that you have. Now you can determine. But I think that the big thing, Neal, is are you happy with your return sitting here right now? As we close and see the next chapter of them actually playing and showing, hey, maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. Maybe you know what they have going for them, though? Brad Holmes drafted them. So you know what? Your bust theory might only be one because of the Holmes effect, right?
Sure. No, absolutely.
Instead of the odds. And that's what we have because what does he prove? That each draft class makes it on the field.
And this is fair, too. Brandon Katz says the Lions draft this year will determine whether or not they won the Stafford trade. And that is fair.
Yeah, that's
fair.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Let's wait and see.
Just like I don't have to wait and see.
But you got to be happy. But that's all you want. You want to say, like, I don't care what anybody else does. You want to take the DMAC page or whatever. Are you happy? Yeah.